Excuse the poor lighting. I've had a migraine for like 2 weeks. But I wanted to come and I wanted to bring you a word today, and it's been on my spirit all day, and I figured that if it's on mine, it's probably on yours. There's a verse in the Bible, and it says the Lord will be close to the brokenhearted, that He's near to us in those moments. And I also wanted to remind you that in fleshiness, sometimes it feels like godliness to try to fix things, to try to overcompensate, to try to overcomplicate situations and scenarios in your life that you really, at the end of the day, cannot control. You can help, but you can't control. Here's what happens is we end up getting in a cycle of, well, God, I'll do this, I'll say this, I'll do that. And even though that sounds like a Christian thing to do on the surface, if you really dig down deep and you know why you do those things, you can examine yourself. Don't mean you're bad. It means that somewhere deep down, whatever's going on in your life has triggered that primal instinct in you of whatever way you had to survive in the past. Like maybe you had to make sure everyone was okay. And so now maybe when something really close to you doesn't feel like it's right, you go and overcomplicate it. You go and try to puff yourself up so big and stand in front of everybody so they can feel no pain and that nothing ever enters their mind that isn't a happy thought. That was my life growing up. It was very much making sure everybody was okay. And I'm sure that my mom and my sister would have felt the same way. When you grow up with a father that's very abusive, and I mean not just regular abusive, but like scary, and not just scary, but just all kinds of weird demonic things, you get this thing on the inside of you where you want to make sure that the other person is okay before you. I remember a time that my father had screwed every window and door in our house in, and in his current use of some prescription medicines that he'd mixed and some other things, he forgot a window. And because he forgot a window, my mama noticed it, I noticed it, and my mama's hollering at me to jump out the window. But I wanted her to go first, because then I knew that she was okay, and at the end of the day, it was never about if I was okay, and that doesn't have anything to do with my family, it had to do with me. I needed everybody else to be okay so that I could function. And after me and my mama argued long enough, my mama finally just about throws me out the window. And, but I remember that I held her hand and I was making sure we were both going down at the same time. I think about my sister and times that she was just really down and out, like I was, like my mama was, we all were. I think about worrying about her. Was she all right? Was she going to be okay? What could I do? And this has been so very long ago. And I wonder, and as I get older, I know that we were all doing the same thing. It was, if you're okay, I'll be fine. Here's the thing is when we get older, we can have everything together, right? You give me a church, I can lead it. You give me something, I can disciple it. This is what I do well. But if it touches on my inner core wound, me and God have more work to do. And maybe you're there too. Maybe you're like, Brooke, you know what? I can do this until it's this. Or Brooke, I can handle it until it's that. Because if you really dig down, what's the reason that you feel like you can't handle it right now? Is it that you're always the one that you feel like cleaning things up, even if everybody around you has to do the same? Is it that you're worried that it's going to turn out like it did for you when you were going through something similar? And no matter what your reason, none of them are godly. They sound godly, but they're not. What's godly in situations like this is to be a friend, to help carry the burdens of people that you love, and to do it well. But you can't sit and 24/7 wonder if things are going to work out, if it's okay. You can't wear yourself out. You can't do any of those things. Because whatever's going on in your life, that situation needs you healthy. And if a situation needs you healthy, then you are doing your part by allowing God to be God. One thing I learn every now and then is that as much as I trust God, when I think I couldn't trust Him anymore, an attack will sweep through and I'll be triggered in all the old places, and I'll go, oh, after I've tried so hard to fix it. In what feels like a godly way. Like constant prayer, constant trying, constant checking, constant, all of those things. Sometimes God has to remind me, Brooke, you either believe that I'm who I said I am, or you don't. And I know that your nervous system is not saying that I'm not who I say I am. It's saying that it's scanning for danger at all and every corner. But I'm telling you that I'm who I said I am. So even when your nervous system is to the max of triggered, even when you're there, you got to go take care of yourself, and you got to trust me to take care of the things that you can't fix. You can help, you can show up, you can love, you can do all the right things, because those are the right things. But Brooke, the wrong thing is feeling like you can do this yourself, because you absolutely can't. And a lot of times when I'm in that space, I realize that I do that more frequently than I think that I do. And it's such a good reminder that we're not out here doing things alone. We all need people. I need people. You need people. The people who need you need people. But we have to get good at exemplifying who Christ is. We can't be too overbearing, and we can't be pushy, and we can't be any of those things. We have to step back and let God deal with the thing that which we know deep down we can't deal with. Not alone. Only God can fix it. Just like when I went through so many things in my life, only God could fix it. People said lovely things. People worried about me. People come to my aid. People wondered where I was, how I was, and all of that, but none of it meant anything. Because I felt like I didn't have a good enough report to give them yet. Which is a lie. You know, any progress is progress. Even just wanting to be here another day is progress sometimes. And as I got older, I realized that anytime I get in those spaces, the devil loves to see me coming. Because it feels so godly. And it's basically just looking God in the face and saying, my nervous system is telling me that this is not okay, which is okay in your trauma, I promise. But at the same time, God's trying to remind you, you may not feel okay, it may not feel okay, but this is not that. It's not where you come from. And you've been the person that had to go be delivered into freedom. And maybe now you're the person that gets to go and deliver other people into freedom. But you got to do it the godly way. Moses did not try to fix everything. A friend of mine sent me a video about this last night. And I heard it totally different than what they were saying. But I was so glad they sent it because it was all helpful. Moses didn't try to fix it. Moses didn't go out of himself. Moses didn't decide what he needed to do. Moses waited on instruction from God, and other than that, he just put up with everything going on. Just dealt with it. And Moses is one of the best leaders we've ever seen. He went out from a space where he didn't really fit in with nobody. Entered into a space where he's delivering people. So he had to go back to a space that he already didn't like to deliver people out of the hand of bondage and slavery and fear. But I bet you going back healed Moses more than he ever would have thought that it would. And I believe that your going back is going to heal you too. Because this time you're different. And even on days you feel like you can fix it all, God's going to remind you that you can't. He's going to tell you to go lay down, take a chill pill, watch a silly show, and rest in the Lord. Because he took care of you in those seasons. And he's going to take care of everybody else in theirs too. But they're going to have a praying grandma or a praying grandmother or praying mama or daddy or sister or brother or friend. And if they got that, you're doing the best thing that you could ever do. It's standing in love. It's being Jesus to people who are having a hard time. And it's also reminding yourself that God is going to be all those things to you, and you don't have to fix it all.